The fall of the Berlin Wall in 1989 is going to start the fall of the Soviet Union, which is going to happen in 1991. So, after World War II, Berlin was divided into different sectors. The eastern sector was controlled by the Soviets and it was communist. And the Western sector, there was a French sector, there was a British sector, and there was an American sector, and that was democratic. And because it was in the eastern portion of Germany, there was a wall that had to be built around it to stop people leaving and coming in and escaping the communist side. So this wall was going to be put up by the communists. Now, this wasn't just a simple wall, and if you look at this diagram, there were guard towers manned by East German guards, and then there would be wire fences. Huge walls would be built out of concrete. There'd be barbed wire fences. There'd be obstacles to stop tanks, and there'd be different bunkers. There'd be guard dogs. There'd be patrols of border guards. They'd be armed. They've had vehicles with orders to shoot to kill. There'd even be ditches just so people couldn't try and drive trucks or cars over to stop vehicles from just trying to make a break for it and drive through the wall. And if you look, there'd be in some parts another continuous concrete wall. All right, so it was very difficult to escape the communist side. And this wall was all around Berlin, stopping people from escaping. And here's another aerial view. There was usually 3 to 4 fences. There was wire fences, concrete fences were up. There was guard posts, so armed guards would be up there. There was a road where it'd have patrol vehicles. They'd even have some corridors where they'd have guard dogs running through. Some of the fences were even electrified, so if you touched them, you'd be shocked. And this was all over the place. And there were anti-tank obstacles. Some places there would be, even landmines and all sorts of ways to alert the guards that somebody was trying to cross. And there was always lights, always lights. Next, some of the guards would just try and defect early on. Some of the Eastern German guards just made a run for it. And here's a famous picture of one of the guards jumping over the barbed wire early on, running away, trying to get to freedom. And this was a problem. So only the most trusted communist guards would be allowed to guard at the wall. So there are many concerns. Thousands of people would be crossing East Germany. They demanded free elections. Soon, the Berlin Wall, which divided East and West Berlin, was torn down. And by the end of 1989, the Communist Party was out of power. The next year, the reunification of Germany occurred. The two parts of Germany, East and West, were one nation again. But the new nation did have many problems. And the biggest problem was the weakened economy in the East. So when the wall comes down, you see the border guards looking out as the wall starts to fall, and Germany, the reunification is imminent. It was a big thing. Here at the famous Brandenburg Gate, you have East and West Germans come together, and this was huge in 1989 to see this happening. Now, how did this happen? Well, there was a news press conference in 1989 when Gunther said, "Hey, East German officials, that you could go to the wall and you could cross." And he said when, and he said now. So that night, people showed up at the wall and began crossing. And this was the picture from the news conference when he mistakenly said that would be allowed. So November 10th, people would just walk across, which it hadn't been allowed before. This was the famous Checkpoint Charlie, manned by the Americans, the British, and the French, and people were allowed to cross. And a lot of people didn't think that Germany would be reunited.